What's going on YouTube, and welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me today. This is my recap to my 2023 season. This was my first year truly diving into fishing as a co-angler on several different tours. I fished BFLs, both the Choo Choo division, the Bama division, even fished the Music City division super tournament, which I placed in third last weekend. Did a lot of Toyota series, both the Central, I did a Southern event and did two Northern events, and then also did a couple of Bass Opens. It has definitely been a learning experience for me being in the back of the boat. I fished with some of the best anglers out there. I fished with Brandon Lester in a Bass Open on Wheeler Lake. It was a great experience being out there with Brandon, such a great guy. I've also fished with Greg Buchanan in the Bass Open. Pringles guy, can't miss him. Always got a can of Pringles with him. The smiling face on the boat, just, you know, hands down a great dude to fish with. I really enjoyed being in the back of the boat with him. So as I look back on my 2023 season, we had a lot of cold, rainy weather in the beginning. There was not many days where I did not have my rain gear or cold weather gear on. It definitely made for difficult fishing. Some guys got on them, some guys didn't. I do know that I did not trust my gut in the beginning. I kind of went off what whoever was in the front of the boat was saying they were doing and kind of rolled with it. Through the past 14 events that I've done this year, that as a co-angler, you've got to mix it up. While it has been a difficult year, I have grown a lot. I have learned a lot. You know, I take it as a learning experience, and I've enjoyed being on a lot of different bodies of water. A lot of bodies of water that I had never fished before, so it was my first time ever being to them. I think that my first event that I really started feeling comfortable was when I was at Lake Champlain for the Northern Toyota Series. In pre-practice with my buddy Eric Markstaller, we had a lot of really good bites. You know, I had probably 16 pounds on the first day we practiced, a little over 15 the second day we practiced. Caught a couple big fours. I did not place well in the event, but that's just what happens when you're fishing a tournament where there's a lot of bedfish and you got guys that are flogging or fishing beds. It does make it tough for the guy in the back of the boat. I'm not making any excuses. I should have executed better. However, it is what it is. I loved being up there for that event. So the last three events of the year is really where things started kicking off for me. Last Thursday, Friday, Bass Open on Watts Bar. And it was tough. I mean, it was as tough as deep fried pork chops. I got to fish with Greg Buchanan the first day. And I weighed in a few fish. I think I was maybe 3 pounds off the lead and sitting in 30th place. There was a lot of room for improvement there. Day two, I let it slip through my fingers and just didn't catch anything. Just one of those things, you know, you're with a different guy, a different style of fishing, a different location on the lake. It happens, and that's just part of being a co-angler fishing these tournaments. I didn't have any stress to that tournament though. I went into it saying whatever happens, happens. I'm going to take it as a learning experience. The next event I went to was a Saturday, Sunday. Directly after that, I drove 2 hours over to Nashville, fished in the Music City division for the Super BFL tournament on Old Hickory Lake. Day one, I ended up with 8 pounds and 6 ounces with 3 fish. My keys to success that day, because we were flipping hardcover laydowns. My boater was, you know, flipping those, and I went in and decided I'm going to mix things up. I'm not going to flip behind him flipping. So I was throwing a green pumpkin Cinco, wacky rigged on a #1 finesse hook from Spear Point Hooks. I absolutely love their hooks. Go check them out. I'll link them down in the description below. So while he was flipping those brush piles and laydowns, I was skipping underneath overhangs and up to the bank. It worked out in my favor. I was able to catch a few fish behind him that way. So at the end of the day, I started throwing a green pumpkin slobber knocker from Berkeley with a green pumpkin, black flake, Yum Christie Crawl trailer on it. And I ended up getting a 3-pound, 6-ounce fish that gave me my 8.6 for the day. Had me in good position. I made the cut. And day 2 went out, did the same thing, throwing that wacky Cinco and that green pumpkin slobber knocker. Ended up getting another 8 pounds and 4 ounces. So I finished in 3rd place for the event. That was my first top 3 finish of the year. So I had good momentum going into my final event of the week. So I left straight from there and I drove to Maryland, fishing the Potomac River Toyota Series for the Major League Fishing. I got to pre-fish for 2 days with my buddy Eric Markstaller. And you know, it was tough conditions. I knew it was gonna be, and we did catch a few fish. Day 2 of practice, we both hooked into a good one. I had about a 4.5 pound fish, and then he caught one that was a little over 5.5. We kind of got it dialed in that they were hitting very well on dark colors. So I kind of switched up my arsenal. I started throwing dark colors. So that leads us into day 1 of the event. Day 1, I got paired up with Brett Carnwright. He was at the time ranked #1 in the Northern Division. He won Lake Champlain Toyota Series and finished in 5th at the St. Lawrence River. So I was excited to fish with Brett since he was ranked #1 in the division. I figured I could learn some things from him, and I was excited to get out on the water. So we went down south and started fishing. It was a lot of frogging, which makes for a very long day when you spend all day frogging. I did throw a swim jig as well. So when we first pulled up on our spot, we got about 4 or 5 casts in, and I made a long cast. About the time I made the cast, Brett hooks into a good one. And as he's rolling in, I grab the net for him, and we get the fish landed. I pick up my rod, I twitch it twice and get slammed by a 3-pound, 14-ounce bass. So I figured we were on some good fish at that point when we hadn't been in our spot for more than 7-8 minutes and already got 2 big fish in the boat. It was a grind all day. When we was in the thick stuff, I was throwing a frog. When we was in the scatter millful, I was throwing the swim bait. And it got me up into 3rd place. I had 13 pounds and 3 ounces after day 1. In 3rd place on a very tough fishery. I knew I was in good position. Day 2 draw was a little bit of a different situation for me. I made the best of it that I could. However, I did let it get to me. My circumstances around me, around who I was with, what we were doing, it let me get in my own head. I also had everything to lose in that tournament, and I did. I lost it all. It was a very difficult day. I'm just going to be brutally honest. I had the bites to win the tournament. It was not a man, if I could have got on some fish I would have won, or if I would have done this different I would have won. And I knew in my gut that if I kept that rod in my hand, fish slack water where the mat was thick, even in the high wind, I would get the bites and that I would do well. Unfortunately, I let my frustration get the better of me, and I missed every bite that I had. I could not seem to get hooked up on them. I switched frogs from popping to twitch. I tried throwing a swimming frog with paddle tails. I tried switching hooks. I tried doing all different sorts of things. But the fact of the matter is that I did not execute. I should have come back with 14 to 16 pounds worth of fish that I obviously had the bites for. I mean, they were monsters. You could see them. I had several of them hooked up after they blew up, and got a couple cranks in with that heavy millful, and I lost them. So I came back to the scales with no fish, and that hurt. That hurt bad. It dropped me from 3rd place to 43rd place. They canceled day 3 due to the tropical storm hitting the East Coast. So the day one winner. He had 15 pounds and some change, came back with 8 and some change on day 2, ended up with 23 pounds, and won the event. Had I not got in my own head and I'd been able to execute properly, I would have been upwards of 25, 26 pounds when I came back. So I'm very disappointed in myself for letting it get to me that bad and not executing. However, I'm taking it as a hard lesson learned. I will be back, I will be better, and I will do better in the 2024 season. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please check out the links in the description below for the baits that I've used. Ducket fishing, I love their rods. All my rods are ducket fishing rods, as well as Paradigm reels. I'll link them in the description as well. So go check them out. To sum up my 2023 season, I've traveled over 6,800 miles, fished in 14 tour level events, 7 BFLs, 5 Toyota Series, 2 Bass Opens, multiple divisions all over the country. Thank you for joining me on my journey from the back of the boat to the front. And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in 2024.